from her contacts. She's written at least one book that I'm aware of, and I'm sure she'll, what's the name of your book again?
Confessions of an Intergalactic Anthropologist.
Right, Confessions of an Intergalactic Anthropologist is her book, and it's available on her website, which is beyondzebra.com. And I've read her book. It's a fascinating book. It's well worth the time. I encourage you to read it. It's a lovely, lovely book. And she's an old soul, and I have to say that I know her from other lives. So anyway, this is Marcia Schafer. She's also Bob Dean's partner, and I'm not supposed to say that in the lead, I know. So I'm saying it at the end of my introduction. I want you to take note, Marcia Schafer. Anyway, and she is also an executive, I'm not sure how you term it, maybe an executive coach. I'm going to let her characterize that herself. Speak to me, Marcia, and let's make sure that your mic is working.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, Marcia,
ready?
I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you for having me. When Carrie first invited me, I said, you know, I'm not really so sure I should be here. I'm really not a whistleblower. I don't do conspiracy. And she said, no, 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 we want you to be a part of this. So I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. So with that, we were supposed to put in our biographies and our pictures. And I've got to tell you, I got a little bit upset because I didn't get it in on time. And Carrie and Bill went into the old archives and pulled something themselves. And I just thought it was totally inappropriate. But I'm going to let you folks decide as we begin to talk about Metamorphosis. So this is what they put up of me in my bio. Marcia tried to rekindle her modeling career, but sadly, in the intervening years, everything had gotten a bit pear-shaped. So I learned to be on time with my stuff. Okay, what I'm going to start with is an old Vedic saying. Well, all right, it's not an old Vedic saying. I got it on the internet. But still, it's good, and it's worth sharing. And it's a story about the bull and the crow. And you may have heard it, but it's worth repeating, particularly here and today. And there was a bull in a meadow that was watching an old crow stumble along. And he saw that the crow had no energy and was really struggling. And he walked over to the crow and he said, "Crow, psst, come here. I know how to fix what's wrong with you." And the crow looked up at the bull and said, "What?" And he said, "You just have to do what I say, and you have to do it for 3 days straight." And the crow looked up at him and he said, "Well, okay." And the bull looked down and he said, "All right, you've got to eat that." Crow looked up at the bull and said, "You're kidding me, right?" Bull said, "No, Crow, you must, for 3 days straight." Crow said, "I am so not eating your poo, Bull." Bull looked down and said, "Do you want to get better? You must do it." So the crow said, "I'm dying anyway, what have I got to lose?" And for 3 days, he ate the feces from the bull. And at the end of 3 days, you know what? That crow got strong, and he was able to fly once again to the highest trees. So he took off, and he landed in this huge pine tree. And right below him, unbeknownst to him, as he landed on the branch, along came a hunter. And the hunter happened to look up, see the crow, go, "I hate those damn crows." Shot the crow. And the moral of the story? Bullshit can take you to the top, but it can't keep you there. And I thought that there's so many people crowing about so much bullshit these days that was the perfect thing to open up with. So, I mean, you know, look, everybody is nervous these days. You're hearing all this talk about 2012 and this old Mayan legacy that's been left to us, and people are scared that Armageddon is just around the corner. Earth changes. Should I head for the hills? Where should I go? Is there going to be water, food? Where should I take my family? People are giving you all their channeled information and their channeled prophecies and telling you that this is the truth and we must do what I am saying because it's coming from beyond. Extraterrestrial invasions, people are telling you that all sorts of things are about to unfold with extraterrestrials. So Crary was trying to tell you what I do, and I'm actually a business consultant of a very unusual type because I also use my psychic abilities and my experiences with extraterrestrial contact with people in over 30 countries, helping them become humanitarian pioneers. But I tell you, by the time they come to me, they usually look like this from everything that's going on. And it's a tough road to them to take. So as we begin to talk about things, what's really important to me today, and one of the biggest messages I can give you, is that we have to talk about what is truth. Because everybody tries to give you their version of truth. You know, who has the authority to say that they have the only version of it? Your job is you listen to each of us. Just because we're up here doesn't mean anything. And especially me. I have lived the life I'm about to tell you about and had the experiences I'm about to tell you about. I know they're real because I went through it. You don't know me from Adam. You don't know that. You have got to develop your discretionary abilities to a very, very high level. And just listen to everything and synthesize it into what may make sense to you as we go forward. Just because you think an extraterrestrial may be the source or some channeled angel doesn't necessarily make it the barometer by which you should live your life. So question me in particular and just look at it as a particular journey. You've all had extraordinary experiences or been exposed to them to some degree, or you wouldn't be spending $150 here this weekend, I can assure you of that. So you know that a lot of this stuff is going to be commonplace to some of you, but I just can't stress enough how important it is that you all really just put on your truth barometer and figure out what's right for you. So what my job is to teach you to think smartly. Because thinking smartly is a hybrid approach, and it is using both the intellect, the cognitive processes, and the wisdom of your intuitive knowing. And this may sound like some very nice New Age preachiness, but in my work with people as I'm turning them on, putting on their higher switches, this is something that we really get into. Because in the human condition, it's extraordinarily unique. The cognitive functioning, the intellectual reasoning that you have. When you combine that with your eternal soul mind and your eternal soul knowing, you have a very, very powerful tool to decipher reality. But we don't flicker them on together all the time. We use them separately or one at the exclusion of the other. So I want you to be thinking with your head and your heart at all times. Now, as we begin, we really need to be looking at, we're talking about God, the change and all these things happening. Are these changing times right now? To some degree, yeah, they are. But we've had change happening throughout history. But what's unique is that we've had change at an unprecedented level, particularly over the past 50, 100 years. Now, we've had beautiful green environment and healthy living, and we've turned around and we've trashed it to where our lifestyles are so polluted worldwide. Our food chain is tainted beyond belief. Our breathing is fouled by the stench of horribly putrid air, and everything that we touch basically is not in a very good spot. But we're talking about this weekend change on an unprecedented level that everybody's thinking this amazing thing is going to be happening and happening very soon. So is there really any change that's going on for us? Yeah, I say there is. I mean, you've got to make up your own minds. I know a lot of you already believe it, but I say there is, and I think there's on 3 levels. Now, as I said, I'm working with people in over 30 countries. These are not people who you'll necessarily see to your left and your right at a conference like this. These are everyday people who are beginning to have some very profound things happen to them, that they are waking up to a new degree. they're having paranormal experiences, some are having extraterrestrial contact, and these are people